I do want to just give some closing thoughts on the PlayStation DualSense Edge, which is the fancy controller that I got a couple of weeks back.
It's so pretty.
It's very nice. So I've been using it a bunch. I used it playing Hogwarts Legacy. I've used it playing Atomic Heart, obviously. So I have a much better sense of how it works and how to use it. As you can see, I took the paddles off because I didn't really find use for them.
Some would say.
Yeah. Listen, it is a better DualSense controller. Like, there is no disputing that you are getting a much better controller than the base controller when you buy this. I do think it takes a lot of work on your part to make it work. So there's a lot of software in the PlayStation 5 to tinker around with and make this controller, very specific to the games you're playing.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you can edit the dead zones on the sticks. You can edit the sort of sensitivity curves. Like, they've got a bunch of predefined sensitivity curves, and then you can just make your own. The same thing with the triggers. You can do the same thing. I never found the need to do any of that. I messed around with it, and I was like, cool, it works. But I don't see the point of having a sensitivity curve that's more parabolic as opposed to linear for the single-player games that I'm playing. The same goes with the trigger buttons. So there's only 2 shoulder buttons as opposed to 4 on a lot of controllers of this kind, like the Xbox Elite controller has 4. A lot of SCUF controllers have 4. This is 2, so you can only map 2 buttons there. So I used it in Hogwarts Legacy to kind of manage my inventory a bit better without having to take my hand off aiming, which made combat kind of a little bit easier. It made that awful spell management system slightly more bearable.
More palatable.
So that works nicely. I still do not understand. So if you look here at the front, there's these 2 little buttons under the thumbstick. You can see them there. Now, both of those buttons do the exact same thing. When you hold them down, it allows you to quickly hot swap between saved profiles on the controller. So you can save 4 hardware profiles. So like, I mapped the sticks and the triggers and my paddle buttons to these things for Hogwarts Legacy. Now I've got another profile for Atomic Heart and I want to switch between them. That's what this button does. I don't know why there's 2 of them.
So you can hot swap faster, twice as fast.
It would make more sense if this other button or one of them could be used for something else. What? I'm not sure. I just feel like they were like, we can't put 1 because symmetrically that would look stupid.
Yeah.
So we're just going to put 2, but they do the same thing. They literally do this. They have 0. And this is all that button does is swap between profiles. That's all you can do.
That's
hilarious. So it's a strange thing. Now, what else? So yeah, the trigger stops are nice. So the short trigger stop is pretty neat. It's not the smoothest I've ever felt, but it gets the job done. So like, the reason you'd want to do this is if you're playing something like COD and you want your R2 to initiate much, much quicker, you can reduce the trigger movement and then reduce the sensitivity in the settings as well if you really want to. And then your shooting will be a lot quicker. It does feel, it's not sturdy enough that I would feel confident putting a lot of weight on that trigger. Like it does feel like it's almost like a pin there that if I really press, it's just going to fucking drive right through that. And that's kind of for such an expensive controller. I wanted to show this. So remember the whole thing about this controller was you can replace the sticks because, all the controllers nowadays, they use the potentiometer sticks and those things just eventually develop stick drift like crazy. So the DualSense Edge has a solution where they've made modular stick components that you can replace at will. And I just want to show you how you get this out. Fuck, I can never open this. So there's a release at the bottom of the controller that lets you open up the front of the controller, and it is kind of cool. If I can
just get there.
So there's buttons like recessed here, and then once you have the release up, you have to like pull something up here. There we go, got it. So you got this little piece that's come off, and now you've got like the sticks that are exposed. Sorry, this is very visual. And then you can just kind of like pull it out, you've got a little metal flap that comes up, and then the stick just pops out. So now I've got the little module there.
Oh, nice.
And then, so say if this stick develops stick drift, I think Sony, I actually don't know if they've started selling them, but I think they said they'll sell them for like $15 or $20. So you just buy a module and you just pop one back in. And that keeps the DualSense going for quite a while, which is great considering how much it costs, you know what I mean? And the process of replacing them is actually far easier than I thought it was. It requires no tools. And now it's just back. Boom.
Easy peasy.
Ready to go. So yeah, pretty neat controller. The battery life is very poor.
Well, the battery is smaller.
Yeah, the battery's smaller to compensate for all of
this
this stuff. And it's listen, I will play like a session, like a 2-3 hour session at night, and it is on 1 bar. And I'm like, what? Excuse me? So if you forget to charge this thing at night and you play the next day, it will die. Like,
you're going to be that person playing with the power bank.
Yeah. The neat thing is the controller case, which I showed last time, has like a pass-through for your cable. So you can put it in the case and plug it in and have it charge that way. And it comes with a really nice long USB-C cable. And the case is very nice to like protect it. But, I have one of those little charging docks for the controllers from, the official Sony one. So I just plop it on there. But it is annoying because there are times where I've like put it on the table, gone to the kitchen and gone to bed without thinking. I've come back the next day and it's like dead. Like I start a game and it comes up with that notification like, oh, your controller's about to die. I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake, man. Like, it's super. Listen, I have 3 DualSense controllers, so don't come at me and be like, you just need a second controller. I mean, have 3.
This is
it doesn't matter. It's still stupid.
Yeah.
Like it's still. I have 3 Xbox controllers. Do you know how many times I have to cycle those? Like once a month. Like it's insane how different it is. So whatever. But I think a lot of people who are buying this sort of controller are either a very competitive gamers, so they will probably play wired anyway. Because latency, it actually makes a difference to them. Yeah. And then a lot of those settings are actually relevant to the sorts of games you're playing. I think if you predominantly play single player games, you will not get what you need out of the DualSense Edge. You will get a more comfortable controller. I think the rounded edges are a lot better and the rubber grips feel very good. So a more comfortable one that's a bit weighty, but you are paying $4,500 just for that because I highly doubt you're going to use a lot of the features. That is a lot of money. That is a third of a PlayStation 5.
Yeah. You put it like that, it's like, oh, wow.
I can't justify it unless you are if you really feel like I really need to adjust the sensitivity curves of my sticks, or I really need a short throw trigger, or listen, if you want to spend $4,500 to have 2 paddle buttons, that is you. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I will tell you that is not worth it in my view. That is why I don't own an Xbox Elite controller either. This is a controller for a very specific market. And I think if you've been playing on PlayStation waiting for an official product like this, it is a very good one. Like you don't have to worry that, Scuff does a better one or, Razer does a better one. Like this is a fucking good one. And the way it integrates with the PS5 is probably the biggest draw here. But I don't think you should be looking at this controller if you're just playing fucking Skyrim or Horizon Zero Dawn
playing an
or
ancient
God of
game,
Although with God of War, I think recalling my axe with that paddle button would feel pretty fucking
really
good.
Nice.
Yeah, it'd be pretty fucking good. Anyway, I guess thanks to Gamefinity for letting me use this for such a long time. I don't know when they're going to come and reclaim it. Come and knock on my door and
kick
just
down the door, like, give it back.
I'll come home one day and it'll just be like not there.
There'll be a rock in its place. They did the old classic Indiana Jones, just swapped it out.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cool. So that is the DualSense Edge.